Hello, hello. Welcome to Kickback Recovery's Recovery Hour with Mick Hartley. Woohoo! Just give it a few secs for a few people to join us. One person. Hello. Good morning. We're going to be interviewing, or not interviewing, we're talking to one of our service users. He's more than a service user. And he's going to be telling us all about his story this morning. We've never done this before, 4 people. We need a lot more than 4 people, please. So if you can share this page to people who might be interested in this. This is the Recovery Hour with Mick Hartley. It's every Tuesday. We may be moving it to Tuesdays and Thursdays. We've got 4 people. We need a lot more than 4 people. Yvette, good morning. John Farmer, hello. John, I'm going to invite you on in a minute when we get a few more people. I've not done this before. So, all right, I'm going to put you on now, John, see how this goes. I have accepted you, John. Lee Palmer, good morning. 7 people. Good morning to the Recovery Hour with myself, Mick Hartley from Kickback Recovery. Be a bit patient, guys. We're going to be talking to one of our good friends, John Farmer, who's got some exciting news to talk to us about what he's celebrating. And he's going to share some of his story. We've got 8 people. So this is the Recovery Hour. It's every Tuesday, maybe every Tuesday and Thursday. Things are going all right. This is our 6th week. Yeah, we've got 8 people. We need a lot more than that, please. Right, John, I have. John Farmer. John, if you can ask to join again. I don't know how it works. This is the first time we've done it. It's all new to us. Good morning, Gillet. 9 people. Good morning to you, lovely 9 people. Ange Barrett, good morning from Newcastle. Wherever you are, will you put a little comment wherever in the world you are, because we do touch a lot of people from around the world. Even if it's Rotherham, it could be Barnsley, it could be Canada, it could be Bermuda. We have people in Bermuda, Hamilton Bay. We have a lady who watches us from time to time. Lee Palmer, good morning. Come on, guys, 9 people. We need a few more. I know people have commitments. I know people are at work. If you could have 10 minutes in your break time just to click on. Southwell, good morning. Yeah. John Farmer, good morning. We're trying to get you on, John. We might need Sally to jump on as well. Right, add John Farmer. So John Farmer, hopefully, will be talking to us this morning, sharing some of his story, how he got involved with Kickback, where his recovery journeys took him, what he's actually celebrating, the great news he had this weekend when I'll let him tell you all about that. Rita Gibbons, good morning. Welcome to Kickback Recovery, the Recovery Hour. There's 13 people. We need a lot more than that, but we'll be grateful for whatever. We will start soon. We're going to be inviting one of our good friends on this morning, John Farmer, who uses Kickback Recovery. He's going to share some of his story. Right. John needs to press the request to join. Can you press that again, John? You did before and I accepted it. So we need to get John involved. Jilly's up watching. Got 11 people. So this is what we're putting on every Tuesday for 1 hour. It's the Recovery Hour. We're going to start doing it on Thursday mornings as well from 9:30 till 10:30. It's free. It's just a bit of connection for people struggling who can't get involved with meetings, can't get involved, for whatever reason, their health. Morning, Stevie Coyle. It's just some form of connection. If you're in recovery, every day we do something for his recovery. Whatever that is, it could be jumping on here for an hour. It could be going to a meeting, in person, Zoom meeting. Good morning, Scott Anderson. It could, it's just some connection, isn't it? And what we're doing this for is people like Scott. If Scott don't mind me saying this, who is in some like supported housing stuff, the Greens. It enables people like that, whatever they're doing, to just jump on and get some, like I said before, some connection. So Yvette is watching. We've got 13 people. We will start. I'm going to try and get John Farmer on. John, how do we do it? Is John still there? Can you just put us a thumbs up, John? He's still there. Right, Liz Elliott, good morning. Can people put where they're abouts in the world they're from, or in the country, or if you're local, if not, just put your town, your city. Good morning, everyone. Oh, it's lovely for people to join us. Right, this is not going to plan, guys. Julia Anna, good morning. So this morning, what I'm hopefully trying to do is invite one of our good friends, one of the guys who uses the service, Kickback Recovery, to share some of his recovery story, some of his hope. John has accepted. Do you need to press something now to split screen? I'm just going to have a look, John, what I do. Add. Choose live video, mystery mask. No. Right, I'm trying to look at something. One person. Right. Your viewers, John Farmer, approve. Coming on, John. I think you're coming on. Whoa. We're getting there. Connecting. There you are. Good morning, John. Hey,
good morning.
Love to see you. So glad that
you too, pal.
To anybody, people watching, will you please invite people to like our page, to have a look at what we're doing. So this morning I'll be talking to a good friend of mine, John Farmer. We've got 15 people watching, John. Yeah.
Bro, mate. Okay.
Press a few love hearts. Yeah. Can you hear us all right, John?
Yeah, can you hear me all right, buddy?
Yeah, good. All good stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start now. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Recovery Hour with myself, Mick Hartley. This morning we have a guest. He's more than a guest. He's a very good friend. He's like family, John Farmer. I'm just going to do how I got to meet you, John, if that's all right, yeah? I'll not mention anything, but I'm sure people won't mind if I do.
It's echoing a little bit, Mick. Try that.
Is it? Don't know what I'm going to do about that. Is it echoing to everybody else? Right, I'll slow it down a bit then, John, yeah? Hey? Is that right?
Talk. Keep talking.
Good morning, John Farmer. Can anybody else put a little thing on if it's echoing to everybody else, and I'll move outside or something? Sorry, mate. Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, it seems a bit better than that.
Right. Shall I go outside? Shall I try outside on a step or something? Let me go outside. Right.
All right, buddy.
Is that better?
Yeah, it seems it, buddy.
Yeah. Okay.
Bit of vitamin D, mate, and all.
That's it. Vitamin D. So, hi everyone. Welcome to the Recovery Hour with myself, Mick Hartley. This morning we're going to be talking to one of our service users, John Farmer. John's going to tell us a little bit about his story. Just before he does, I'm just going to tell you how I kind of got introduced to John. So, Kickback Recovery, like you all know, it's a registered charity based in Sheffield. It's been going 5 years. It will be 5 years in November. So we were doing some of our group therapy meetings, and I got a phone call from a lovely lady who I know, who's now a counsellor, and I kind of met her when I was in rehab. At the end of my rehab, if I can remember, I either met her in the rehab or I met her when I got introduced to Narcotics Anonymous in Scarborough. And we had to, from the rehab, we had to go out and join all the AA meetings and NA meetings. And I met a lovely lady called Sharon. Sharon went on in her recovery, got some qualifications in counselling, started working at an organisation, and John was kind of under she started working with John. And then when John was about to get out of rehab, I got a phone call from her saying, there's a lovely, lovely lad called John. He's based in Rotherham, but you're in Sheffield. Could you reach out to him? And that's what we did. Kickback Recovery reached out, and we got John to our meetings, and that was just under 2 years ago. So I'm going to, John, do you want to tell us a little bit like your story? And then we'll start talking about the great news, what your achievement this weekend. So I'm going to hand you over to John, everybody. Thank you.
Can you hear me all right now, Mick? I've took my headphones off. I think. Yeah, Brill.
Can't see you that well.
Yeah,
though,
so.
That's better.
Can you see me better now?
Yeah, that's better.
And you can hear me all right?
Yep, all good.
Like Mick says, it's I was in rehab just over 2 years ago. I think I was in rehab on 27th of July or something along those lines. I was really in a desperate place. I completely hit rock bottom. I didn't want to be here. I wanted to kind of end my life. There was no way out for me. I was physically dependent on alcohol. I was waking up first thing in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning with tremors, cracking a tinny up in on back garden. It had sunk its claws right into me. And yeah, it come to a point where I didn't want to be alive. I couldn't see the point in my existence anymore. that's when it comes to a point of me like actually like begging and getting on my knees to saying that I need help. I need some professional help. So my family and that ended up getting me into a rehab. I can't remember what that a private rehab. They've got two options. One in Manchester, but I wouldn't been able to get into that for another couple of weeks. Or the other option was to go down to Luton, which is like London way, which is like 3 hours. I wanted to go to Manchester one because I was shit scared. I wanted to be closer to home, closer to my family. Because obviously, like when you're going through all that, being away from your family, your friends, and it's like your other end of the country. But they could get me in. They could get me in within a few days. I think we rung up on the Friday, and they got me in on the Monday down at Luton. And I said I need to go. It's like physically my body felt like it couldn't take no more. I'd ended up dying. Like I think we counted in 2 weeks. I'd nailed like 24 bottles of vodka. I mean, and that wasn't my worst. So yeah, like Mick says, I ended up going down to Luton Rehab. I can't remember the name of it now. But I had a mentor called Sharon McHale, who looked after me every step of the way. And I were absolutely bricking it. Don't get me wrong, but I were desperate. I were ready for that change. And it's the best decision that I've ever made. Just the fearfulness, doing something what you've never done before. Yeah, it was very, 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 very scary. Like all that iron antioxidants, like vodka. I take a little bottle of vodka down with me just to keep them tremors off me. I mean, like it's like desperate times, isn't it? So yeah, we took a 3-hour drive. Had me a little bottle of vodka just to keep me topped up on way. And yeah, I've never looked back since. Spent a month in rehab there. I want to spend time. I want to go in there a lot longer. The amount of work what they did with me in there is absolutely unbelievable. I learned a lot about myself. It took me a while to understand my addiction. It took me a long time to understand that I had a problem. Because honestly, I was thinking, I'm going in there, I'm going to rehab, I'm going to come back out, and I'll be able to carry on drinking. I'll just be able to control it somehow. But wow, it opened it opened my eyes to a lot of my behaviours and to why I was drinking. And yeah, it's had a massive positive effect on me. Like the month I spent down in rehab, it was like you could class it as like a little school. As you get older and that, when you're in addiction, you lose a lot of your structure, or especially when you're drinking heavily. You're getting up late. You're going to bed late. You're eating crap. You're drinking. You're sent to death. There's nothing. There's no structure in your life whatsoever. And one of the things they started to do with me down there, we're building a structure, which were absolutely fantastic. We're having to go to bed at a certain time, and I'm like 36 years old, being told to go to bed at 10 o'clock. It's like it doesn't happen. I'm normally drinking till 1-2 o'clock in the morning, but being told you're having to go to bed and you're going to get up at a certain time, going to make sure you got your breakfast, and you make sure you have your breakfast at a certain time. You have to be showered, be ready downstairs for 8 o'clock, be ready for all one-on-one sessions and classes. It was like being back at school, but it was something what I needed. It were an amazing experience, to be fair. And it's taken us 2 years and to get from being on my knees and to being suicidal, to not being wanting here, to where I am today and speaking on here, speaking to Mick and speaking to everybody at Kickback. It's been one heck of a journey. But honestly, it's had its bumps in roads a long way, and it always will have. But one thing, like what I can say to anybody on here, is you can turn your life around, and you've got a fantastic opportunity with Kickback here. I didn't know nothing about Kickback before I went to rehab, which is shit really, because even when I went to try and take doctors, they weren't really sending me to any services, or they weren't that much help. And I didn't even know about Kickback, and how much Kickback's kind of come alive over the last few months. It's unbelievable. And I've been very fortunate, to be fair, very lucky, because as I've come out of rehab, I got put straight back onto Mick, and like Sharon and Mick knew each other. Sharon were absolutely fantastic, very, very truthful, very harsh. She didn't beat around the bush on things. She told me a lot of her own truths about me, son, which were all true. What I needed to hear. Then, obviously, once I left rehab, then she passed me over to this fantastic recovery group and Kickback Recovery, and she introduced me to a man called Mick, who says, "Yeah, absolutely spot on, nicest person you could ever wish to meet." And yeah, I went to my first meeting on Wednesday, and I was shitting myself, only for about 5 minutes, but the welcome I got from the group. We were at Salvation Army, I can remember it. It's weird, like you've damaged yourself over years and your brain's like not functioning, but you remember a lot more stuff when you're clean, and and things start coming back to you. And I can remember that day, like how by within 10 minutes I felt so comfortable. It was like a second family. It was like a second family for me. So yeah, that's kind of where it's led me today. I'm 2 years clean. I've just been on a journey for last year, trying to compete in a men's physique. I've spent a year just trying to build myself, and to get on a bodybuilding stage. What I dreamed of doing, but just because of my lifestyle, my drinking habits, just the confidence. I wouldn't have been able to get where I got without these guys, to be fair. So yeah,
John.
So yeah, it's come to yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to say. So what's one of the biggest things that helps you then in your recovery? If you give me any advice to people, just sat on the fence and what, like you've just shared some of your story where at some point in your life you were quite hopeless, you had a problem with alcohol. There might be people out there listening now that do have a problem with, it could be whatever substance, and they realise that they accept that they have got a problem. What advice would you give to the people for the first thing to maybe do?
So for your first step, we touched this yesterday on the meeting, is you've got to admit that you're powerless over the substance of choice, or what you're throwing down your neck. Like we went through steps, which we talk about in Kickback, the powerless over a substance of choice, and how we go about our daily lives to try and control that that substance. Like for me, for example, I could go a couple of weeks without having a drink. To me, that when I didn't have a drinking problem, but 3 weeks down the line, 4 weeks down the line, I'd have picked up a substance, and I wouldn't have just drunk one bottle of vodka, or I wouldn't have just drunk one tinny. I'd have bought 16 cans. I'd have bought 2 litres. Do you know what I mean? So, just looking back, they got me to look back on my history, on my life, how I tried to stop drinking. And it brought back a lot of memories. Like there were times where, like I said, I could go 2 weeks without having a drink. But one way or another, it might have been 2 weeks later, it always led me back to being on a binge for about 2 or 3 weeks. It always led to a bad outcome.
Yeah.
So
what would you say then, John? Then, so you've reached out, you've got some else. First things first, we need to stop using drugs. Yeah, whatever drug that is, alcohol including. Yeah, but that's the first thing. The hard bit is the maintenance thing, the keeping stops. Yeah. So what you reached out, you went into some organisation, some treatment centre. You got a start. You then got referred to Kickback. You came to Kickback. What do you think helped you at Kickback?
Yeah.
When you first came, my memories are coming to a first ever, like when I went to rehab at first, absolutely, like you said, really full of fear. Even though we're a grown man, what we're going to expect? I were in a different town. I was walking into a building that were alien to me. I'd never been in there before. It was full of people. I think there might have been about 16, maybe 15, 16 people in at that time. People who I wouldn't really, because, you know, with my addiction and the substances I was using, it were all about me. I thought I was better than everybody. And, you know, when I actually sat down as a 45-year-old man in a room and introduced myself in some group therapy, that my name's Mick and I'm an addict, that was a hard tablet to swallow. You know, am I an addict? Am I not? I don't know. I've got to have a problem, because I won't be here if I didn't have a problem. You know, I never expected my life to be where it was at a 45-year-old man. You know, I was broken. So what helped you at Kickback? You came in like that. You had maybe a couple of months under belt, and I remember you walking in. And without being rude, John, and you've shared this before, it was like meeting a young boy. You know. You know, now I look at you and what you've achieved, what you're going to share in a bit, what you've achieved in 2 years. You are a man. You know what I mean? I'm proud to call you a friend. I'm proud to have you involved with Kickback. You know what I mean? You've got a lot to be proud for. So what do you think, when you came to Kickback, you got welcomed? What do you think kind of kept you at Kickback, kept you in recovery, should I say?
By listening, one thing like I've learned over years, and I didn't even realise this, to be fair, is my ego were absolutely massive. And it always had been, and I didn't realise how big my ego were, or were still at times. So going to Kickback and trying to control that ego and trying to stay stopped, and I knew I had to start changing a lot of my behaviours. Like I had to shut my mouth. I had to open my ears. I had to listen to people that have experienced recovery. Like even when I was in rehab, like I was talking. I can remember the first week I was in rehab, I'm talking about my experience, like, and Sharon shut me down straight away. It's like there were a process what she was trying to do with me. And that was my like ego, like trying to think I still knew best. I was 1 week into rehab, and I'm advising people like what I were doing, and it's, you know what I mean. Instead of keeping my mouth shut, listening to what's being said, and the less you know, the more you know, and it's just a continuous continuous education. I'm 2 years. I'll never stop learning, and I think that's for everybody in this group. you'll never have your addiction covered. You have to put the work in every day, and every day is not easy. Some days are very hard, but once you follow that recovery, and this is what kickback's given me, it's given me a structure. It's given me a good structure in my life to follow, to keep me on that straight path. And like I say, is listen to what people's got to say. The hardest thing for me is people telling me what my flaws were, what my negative thoughts were, what were my negative traits. And you know what now? Like I thrive off knowing what my negative traits are and knowing how I can change them. Because they do still crop up now on an everyday basis. It has cropped up in the last 6 months while I've been competing. But like you said, when you go into your recovery meetings, you've got to be in there. You've got to be learning. It's not Mickey Mouse shit. You've got to gear you 100%. And they say when you come out of rehab, you've got 90 days or something to go to as many meetings as possible. And if you don't do that, your percentage of your relapse increases. And it's all out war. It was like for me, my recovery had to become my priority. It had to be my number one. I had to get on every meeting. I had to travel. I had to sort work out. Well, I was still off work for a bit, but I was making sure I was getting to these meetings every day, and I needed it. And that's what's got me where I've got to today. You can't half-arse this. If you half-arse it, if you got one foot in, 1 foot out, you're gonna go back to your old life. Fortunately, I've not done that yet. I've been close. I've been very close. Like I've not picked up, but this is like where I kind of want to come on to this story now. To what's happened over the last 6 months.
So can you share, John?
Yeah.
It's brilliant that you where you are. I'm not going to. What have you achieved in your recovery? These two years of changing everything and changing your life and getting involved with recovery meetings, and like you said, putting recovery first. You know, really wanting it. And what freedom has that give you? And what have you achieved in that time and learned? And do you want to share that with us, please?
Yeah, I've created new relationships, like with my family. I used to blame my family for me drinking. I used to blame them for everything. And that's what kept me drinking and all. I think it's like, oh God, my father's a pisshead. It's like it kind of what runs it, family and that. And I used to blame a lot of people for my misdoings. But like since the 2 years, I've took responsibility for my own actions. Even now, I take responsibility for the way I behave. Even if someone has wronged me, like it's how I respond to that. I think that's been a massive change for me. Knowing how people are, I can read people now. I can understand people with mental health issues, like my mum, for example. Mum's really struggled over years. We have best conversations going now about mental health, and like 2 years ago, like we couldn't sit down in the same room without arguing around. But yeah, what I've learned, Mick, over these last 2 years, and I've developed into a man. Kickback and rehab have given me the tools to progress in life, to make my life better. and it has massively. It's like I've got an head on my shoulders, and it keeps me ego at bay to a certain degree, because it does creep up every now and again, and I start noticing little traits when my ego starts coming out, and that could be out like these last few weeks, like with Mrs. when I'm competing. It's not been nice. It's like I've been up here, I've been feeling really good one day, then I've been absolutely down here another day, and I'm aware of that, and I'm aware of how I've been. So even though this has been the proudest moment of my life, getting where I've got, there's been a lot of negative stuff with it that has come with it.
You just want to share it with people, John? You know, like you're saying, you're competing, and there will be people on here who don't know what you've been competing in. Do you want to share what achievement you've done, what medals you've won and stuff like that this week? Well, you've competed twice. A bit of that story.
So yeah, I've competed twice in IFBB 2 Bros men's physique. I did my show June of this year. I was dieting for 6 months. So I mean with dieting and that is I've got my own professional coach. So what I've got to eat is down to a T. I've got to weigh all my food out. I've got to train every single day. I can't miss days. I can't have cheat meals. I can't just go and help myself to what I want. But it's been a dream to what I wanted, and my girlfriend knew that this was my dream. Like I had to do this for me, and this was going to be my priority. No matter what, I'm gonna get this done. And she supported me, bless her, through thick and thin. So I ended up doing regional qualifier. I ended up qualifying for British finals, which then was in August. So I had another 8 weeks of prep time. And this is for people who does a lot of exercise and that. When your body's like in a deficit and you're a low body fat percentage, and to get onto bodybuilding stage, your body fat's got to be ultra low. You put your body through some of what it shouldn't have to go through. It's like you're drinking, like you're putting your body through some of what it shouldn't have to go through, and it's physically hard on your body. It's hard on your hormones. It physically changes the way you're feeling a lot of times. So yeah, I ended up qualifying, and I ended up getting a 2nd, 3rd, and a 4th in regionals. And I thought, I'm going to have to go and do British finals. Like, I'd regret not going to do it. I'd set my goals out. I think, come on, John, don't matter where you're going to place. I've got on stage after 2 years. Like, no matter whether I come first, whether I come second, whether I come third, that don't bother me. I know a lot of people do. People go there for their own reasons. They go there to win, and I respect that. But I had my own little journey. I've always wanted to do it, but because of my drinking, because I aware as a person mentally, there'd been no way I'd ever completed these last few months since January, since I was dieting. Mentally, I'd have blocked it, and probably if I had not got kicked back or out, I'd have been out on booze. I've been out on booze. So in a negative way, it has been positive because it showed me some of the times that I don't like the person I've been sometimes when I've been on this prep. Like I said, it's been an hard and horrible. Even though I've won, I've become British champion. which is absolutely fantastic. You might think, yes, it's brilliant, you're British champion, but what goes with that and the sacrifices you've got to make, it is massive. It's like you're in isolation on your own. And I was tough enough to do. I was tough enough to do it. I was tough enough to complete it. And don't get me wrong, like there were times where I'm about to throw it towel, but the strength I've got from being at Kickback, being with you guys, the love and support I've got, my friends, my family, that's what's kept me going as well. Cause honestly, it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. I'd par this last prep on going to rehab. I've learned a heck of a lot, and that's why I made a decision. And I said to my girlfriend, like, I can't go through that process again. It like we talk about being a dry drunk, like yesterday and day before, the day after the competition. Like me and Mrs. We've never laughed as much in 6 months. Do you know what I mean? That like we'd had such a good time together. All that pressure had gone. There were no waking up at 4:30 in the morning, making sure I went to do my half an hour cardio, making sure I went to eat, no matter whether I had two or 3 hours sleep. And it put a lot of strain on his relationship to a certain degree. We had, like, and I'll be honest with you, we had a few arguments about it. And this is what I mean as well, is this is where you have to reflect on it. And I was very, very selfish for the last 6 months. Very, very, very selfish. And that's a bit like me addiction. I was very selfish in my addiction, and I didn't like that. It brought back a few memories of that, even though I weren't drinking, or like it were all about me, or it weren't about my girlfriend, and I weren't even thinking about how she was feeling. Like you, it's hard to explain it. It's when you ain't got no energy and you're trying to push your body through to extremes, like you're trying to get that extra 1%, and it starts affecting your family around you. Even though you've got the full support, it's like I don't want it. I don't want to be put through that process again. It's like I've not been on Kickback for over a month, and I needed to do that in order to get where I've got, and I wouldn't change that in a million years, because it's grown me as a person. What I've got out of these last 6 months, even though these negative things I've got, I've took them as a strength as well, because I'm aware of my behaviours, I'm aware of what I've been like, and I can make that change again. I can make that decision. I can make a choice. Either I can carry on doing what I'm doing and destroy everything around me again, and it would do. I've got the support of them, but that support will only last so long with it. And just for my own, I think just for my own mental health as well. I were, like I said, I weren't in a good place. You're focused on getting the task done, and you're like in robot mode, proper robot mode.
Can I ask a question, John?
Yeah.
You know, with all this bodybuilding and all the training, do you think there's any addiction stuff going off there? Do you think at times your illness, let's call it a disease, is active in some of that stuff?
Yeah, massively, mate. Like, it's obviously I use PEDs, I use performance enhancers and all. So this time round they were very minimal. So hormonal wise, like this preparation for this finals were a lot worse than the other one, and I were on a lot less performance enhancers. And I were, and I'm open and honest with that. And I've spoke to you about that before, mate. PEDs are called performance enhancing drugs. What give you? A lot of people think it gives you that massive edge. It don't. It gives you like a 1%, 2%. It's all through your diet. It's all through your sleep. It's all through your recovery. It's all through your training. But when you're putting your body through so much, it is like a physical addiction, because like you go from one extreme to other to a certain degree. Like you feel bad. Like if there's days when I first started doing prep, I didn't do cardio. I used to beat myself up about doing half an hour cardio. So you can have a bit of a bad association with a lot of stuff, Mick.
That's what I was just about to say, John. Obviously, there's no cure for this illness, as we all know. It is treatable, and we treat it through recovery programs and connection. But at times, and I experience it well, where my addiction, you know, at times I can say, you know, with the drugs and alcohol stuff, I'm kind of recovered with that stuff.
Yeah.
But addiction as a whole, I'm recovering, because it's always showing different symptoms. I'm always crossing over into social media where I'm kind of getting my ego stroked and how many views, how many likes. Should I delete that post? You know, I can get really, really ill. Yeah. I wish it'd go over into exercise. Like, you know, I keep trying to, you know, that's but the food, the sugar, you know, people, you know, even chaos at times I'm attracted to, because I grew up in when I was younger, I'm not going into details, where there were lots of stuff happening through stress, through whatever. Chemicals were being released, and I kind of got addicted to them chemicals. And when stuff like that's not happening, I kind of I'll go looking for it. You know, if there is a bit of chaotic stuff happening, or a bit of stress happening, or some worry and anxiety, that kind of feels at home to me. You know, we could go right deep into that stuff, but we haven't got time. So just about that stuff, you know. So where you at now, John? Where you at with the training now? What's your recovery plan now? Then are you going to carry on competing, or are you just going to get back into recovery?
This is the other thing now. I'm having some time off, like, and this is another hard bit with addiction, making. But this is like where I've got to listen to people who knows the stuff, and like now, mate, I could go at gym. I feel like I could go at gym and train, and I'd love to, because I'm still looking well. But I know it's going to have a detrimental effect on my body. My body needs to repair, to recover. So going from waking up at 4:30, having that daily structure, to not having a structure again, it is massive, because that's what I live. That's what I live for. That's what I'm used to, and that's part of my addiction to keep me clean. It's like with you guys coming on my meetings, and you could say, mate, like, my addictions follows through now by coming onto these meetings. Now I've done that, I need to come back, and they say you can have healthy addictions, but then sometimes doing too much of one thing, that can become very unhealthy for you as well. It's like it's that balance, what we've already talked about. We spoke about that all the time. You have to have a balance in your life, and once that balance starts going, your mental health starts dwindling, and that's how I looked at me for the last 6 months, and especially this last month, I had to isolate myself. I didn't have the physical capacity or energy, like, to talk to people, or like, it were all about me. Like, it were little things were winding me up, what normally wouldn't, and that's just through lack of food, lack of energy, putting your body through a strain what it shouldn't be going through. And that's why doing this like bodybuilding and getting on stage, it's there's only a small percent of people that can actually like physically do it. And I think that addiction within me, because they said to me in rehab when we got there, there's only out of all 30 of you, there's only 8% or 6% or something by end of this that will leave rehab and stay clean for a year. I mean, 6% are a group of 30 people, Mick. It's not a lot. And if you go around room and you count, and you're thinking, fucking hell, is that me? Is that going to be me? And in my head, like, I wanted that to be me. And I knew when I were in there that I am going to be one of that 6%. Because I've never been like that. Like, I've been like happy-go-lucky. Oh, if I fail, I fail. It is what it is. But like my mindset were now, I am gonna complete this. I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna give my heart and soul. I'm gonna put 100% into my recovery. I need to, and yeah, and I'm one of them 6%. That's out of that 100, out of that 30. Well, 6% out of 100 who's managed to go a year. Imagine that after 2 years, that percentage would be even lower. So for me, getting on stage like that, they say like there's only 1% of people we in country could ever get to like a stage ready body, but that mentally it can take you to a place where it's very dark and it's very deep. But in my head, that were I were getting there no matter what, and I was sacrificing everything. I was sacrificing a lot of stuff, and that's what I mean. Like I'd set my goals. I'd said I was going to do regional qualifier. I didn't even realise how well I'd doing that. Then I got qualifications then to go and do finals, which were the following 8 weeks. And I'm like buzzing. I'm like, the buzz you get from your first show, it's absolutely amazing. You're up here, but then you soon come back down again. You're back into the old habits, getting up at 4 o'clock. And yeah, it is really, really good for you, mate. And I will carry on with that structure, because having that structure, getting up at 4:30, eating, getting stuff done, but I'll be doing that in a different way this time. I'm looking to progress my online business with online coaching now. I'm getting a lot of professional help to build that up, and it's like out in life. This is another one thing what Kickback's taught me, and it's same with your mental health. It's same with your mental health or in anything that you do, is you need an expert to help you in your field. If your mental health's shy, you need to get sent to see a professional, because you don't know, you know there's something wrong or there's something not right about something, and to seek that professional help is massive, and that's what I've done. And it's like you, mate, doing your courses for your educational, mate. And I bet that has its drawbacks a lot of time with stuff. But that addiction in your head, like you want to get it done. You are going to be the best person you're going to be. Do you know what I mean? And it will do. But like for me, I've got to keep everything balanced. I've got to come back to Kickback now.
So John, we are going to have to wrap it up in a minute. So what advice would you give to anybody then? You're celebrating 2 years without a drink. You're 2 years sober. You've come from the rehab. You've got involved with a recovery group, an organisation. You've won 2. You're British champion, men's physique. Wow, you know. All the work you put in. Oh, I know all the personal stuff you've done and sacrifices. What would you give to to anybody else out there, then either in recovery or, you know, this is where dreams come true. Miracles happen, don't they? In recovery, miracles do happen. Anybody
do,
recovered
mate.
a walking
Yeah.
miracle, you know. Any advice you give to anybody? Any hope?
Yeah. One thing I've learned is, and what I still see to this day, a lot of people talk the talk, but you've literally got to walk the walk. You've got to put that 100% effort into your recovery. If you only gain 90%, then you need to put that, especially if you're new to recovery and you've only just started, you need to get everything. You need to prioritize, like I call it priorities. So how much do you want your recovery? If your priority recovery is low on your list, you'd rather stop at home and watch Netflix or sit on your sofa, then your priorities to me for your recovery are not good. So your recovery, if you wanna get a good life, you wanna hit your goals, hit your dreams, whatever they might be. There could be as small as it could be losing a few pounds. It could be just getting out of the house for a bit. Is just prioritize your recovery, and get yourself into all meetings. You've got it even easier now. You've got things like this. You've got your lives. You don't even have to. You don't even have to leave home. Do you know what I mean? You even have like an excuse like not to be able to drive somewhere. Like when I first come out of rehab, like I was driving every single day, 5 days a week to get to me, to get to me courses, to get to me fellowships, and just sit there, listen to what other people's got to say, take everything in, what they're saying, because, like, especially like with Mick and that, I've learned so much, not just from Mick, but from everyone. And don't let that ego of yours take over you. Just stay there and learn it. And it's weird because it'll click together. One day it'll all just like click. And I think that's when you know you're on your way to recovery. And I think with me and all now is I've got a lot more empathy. I can understand a lot more people, and I can understand the behaviours. Like when I feel like they're a bit off, 9 times out of 10, they're going through shit that sends. And it's like me, mate. Like when I've been through prep and I've not been nice, and I haven't been nice, mate. I've been quite short-tempered. Like that's nothing to do with nobody else. That's down to me as an individual not being in a good place at that particular time. But yeah, you've just got to put out all your energy into it. And one thing I will say now is what you need good people around you. You need a good circle of friends. You need a good circle of family. You need to get rid of toxic people in your life who brings you down. And like you said, Mick, yesterday in that meeting, sometimes you're drawn to that chaos and you don't realise like how much it zaps energy out of you. But for this prep, like we spoke about this, I had to cut a few ties with a couple of individuals, people who I love and I still love to this day. But for my own benefit and for my own health and for my own well-being, I had to do it, and it's been fantastic. Do you know what I mean? And it's hard to do things like that. But as your recovery gets longer and you get more experience, you start doing these things. You start making little changes for yourself. And another thing I say is you've got to put yourself first to a certain degree. Your recovery has got to come first, but there's got to be a balance with everything. And that's included your family as well. Is one thing I've known is like, yeah, my priority is got to come back to my recovery now. But my priority again for me at minute like today we're going to go out and have something to eat with family, is I'm going to put them first a little bit. I've been selfish for the last 6 months. I've done what I've got to do now, and it's time to give something back to them who's loved me and supported me through all this and made me achieve that. And it's that's likewise going back to you guys on here. I proper miss you, and I felt that void in my life. I was saying to one of the lasses behind reception, and I haven't been my normal self. I've not laughed. First time I laughed, like I said, were Sunday when it had all finished, and we'd had such a good time. If I'd have carried on doing that for another 6 months, competing, like, I don't know, mentally, I'd have gone down and say I could have gone back drinking. I could have lost my family again. So it doesn't make no difference whether you're drinking or what. If your priorities are wrong or you're still selfish in some aspects of your life, like, you need to kind of be aware of that and make changes, which I know I have now. I need to give some stuff back to people. It's just been take from me for the last 7 months, and they're still here and they still love me, and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and it's like with you guys, like you've been there, you've supported me through thick and thin. We are, and even though I've not been on, like, I know you're there, and that's like my support net. That's like my support net for me. But now it's like my time to give back to you guys as well, if you know what I mean, because I support you.
Don,
me.
Thank you. I'm going to wrap this interview up now, but I'll carry on a little bit myself on after. But I just want to say thank you. It's a privilege to have. What can you tell us your title? What you are?
Yeah, I'm British Masters men's physique British champion of 2020. Is it 21 now? I
21, brother.
21.
Yes.
So
well done. Well done for everybody. Kickback. Hopefully we'll see you on tomorrow morning's meeting.
Yeah.
Wellbeing Wednesday.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. It means a lot. Have a lovely day and enjoy your family, John. Yeah.
Yeah, you too, buddy. Thank you ever so much, everybody. I love you all, guys.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Love you all. Thank you.
Brilliant stuff from John Farmer. A well thought of kickback recovery member. Yeah. So, right, guys, I don't even know what time it is. It's supposed to be the recovery hour. I planned this morning. I've got to watch. But anyway, is there any questions? I'm going to go through anybody want to ask something? We'll put a comment in. If you've got 19 people still watching, thank you for your patience and watching. So these recovery hours are every Tuesday morning, 9:30 till 10:30. We are thinking of doing one on Thursday as well. If you wanted to come on as a guest speaker, get in touch. You want to share some of your story. If you're still struggling with active addiction, if you want to come on and just kind of share where you are a bit. If you are in recovery long term or you just freshly come in, if you want to share some of your story, feel free to get in touch. And it's brilliant. I just want to thank you for everybody's support in doing what we're doing. I can't do this on my own. You know, if there is anybody out there struggling, you know, sat on that fence, please do reach out. You know, people aren't mind readers. People don't know what's going on for people. Thank you, Sally Reedman. People don't know what's going on for people, do they? You know, behind closed doors. I remember when I was in a not so good place. I think everybody knew what was going on for me. You know, I talked about it. All I ever talked about were using drugs and episodes of using drugs, and you know, and that's all for years. But there is hope for people. You know, today woke up this morning. I don't want to use drugs. We've had John on. He's 2 years in. You know, it's good stuff. So anybody out there struggling, I would start with your GP, me. You know, I didn't start with my GP, but later on in you know, let's say in recovery, I did start going to my GP, and I got a good relationship up with my doctor. If you haven't got that good a relationship with your doctor, ask for a different doctor. Say you want to see somebody else, you know. And then I would get in touch with services. People people come on, it's not so much come on here, but you know, you hear people in recovery slagging off services and that. It's not a place to slag anybody off. You know, people have different experiences. But what I always say is, it's not the services really. It's us that are the problem, and we always will be the problem. It's not services. It's not doctors. It's not hospitals and that. It's us with a problem, and it's us who's got to put the work in and put the action in, and accept what we are. And get busy and let go of blaming other people and that, you know. Accept that we've got a problem with drugs, and as lives have become unmanageable, we're powerless. We can't get well on his own. Reach out, get some help from, like I just said, from a doctor. Get referred. Go down at drug services. Get involved with a recovery group like Kickback Recovery or Narcotics Anonymous or any other anonymous fellowships. You know, there's lots and lots of help out there. Smart Recovery, CA, all sorts, you know, there's loads. Just get involved with something. You'll never get well on your own. Reach out to Kickback, send us a little message. You know, that's the way forward. Sitting at home, feeling sorry for ourselves, you know, poor old me, is not the solution. You're just living in the problem. Any comments or anything? Anybody want to ask any questions? If you like what you've seen this morning, what you've heard, if you want to invite people who might benefit from this page, please feel free to share our page, invite people. We've got a Zoom meeting tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Sally will put all the details on. It's called Wellbeing Wednesday. That's at 10 o'clock. We have Thursday evening. We have an in-person recovery meeting at Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. 5:15. Get to the Education Hub. It's at the side of the mega store, Al's mega store. Plenty of car parking. Come and join us at 5:15 for an in-person meeting. And Friday afternoon, 1:45 p.m. in the Sheffield City Centre at the Circle, 33 Rockingham Street. There's an in-person meeting there as well. Plenty of Zoom meetings and these live feeds and that. I'm going to wrap it up at that. So I want to wish everybody a good day. Have a good, I think we might, I don't know what we're all going to do. Leave a comment if you want these live feeds to go on Thursdays as well. So we could do one Tuesday and one Thursday. Let us know. And I just want to wish you all a good day. Yep, stay close. Thank you.